Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are doing great. In this video, I'm going to solve the next problem in the series 30 Days of JavaScript. Previously, we have solved some of the problems in promises and time section. So the next problem is cache with the time limit. Let's get started. We have to cache the values with the time limit. So write a class that allows getting and setting key value pairs, a class with getters and setters. However, a time until expiration is associated with each key. So that means each key that we are going to set, it will expire after certain time. Okay, so the class has a three public methods. So set, get and count method. So you can observe this is a constructor function and these are the prototype methods. This is a prototype based class. So the set method is taking three parameters: key, value and duration. So you can observe here. So accepts an integer key. Okay, so the key we have to set and the value that is associated with that key and the duration in milliseconds. So once the duration is elapsed, the key should be inaccessible. After this given duration, the key should be removed. That's what they are saying here. Okay, so the method should return true if the unexpired key already exists. That means they will call multiple times. So for example, you can see, so the key initially they are calling with the key value key 1 and value 42 and duration 50 milliseconds, and again they are calling with the same key. So when second time the key is called, if it is already existed, that means we have to return true value. Okay, otherwise if it is in the initial setter, that means it should return false. Both values and duration should be overwritten if the key already exists. So if second time they are calling to set the value with the same key, then we have to override the values. So getter, if an unexpired key exists, then it should return the associated value, otherwise it should return -1. So the count method returns the count of unexpired values. So for this problem, I will make use of object. So I will create a cache variable here. So to store the values for all the setters, we will store the values in this object only. So let's start implement the functionality. Accept integer and key, right? Inside prototype methods, the way we can access this property is using the this keyword, this dot cache. So we will receive a key and a value and duration, right? So what we can do is for a given key, so I will assign an object with a value and duration. So this will set, like for example, if you take this key 1 and value 42, so we will have a cache object like this. So the key will be like this and value will be 42. Here we are again setting an object, right? So the value will be 42 and duration will be, so let's say 100. So this is how like we are storing the values inside the cache object. So let's remove this. Here the problem they are saying is once the duration has elapsed, the key should be inaccessible. That means we should remove this, whatever the key we are setting, we should remove from the object. So for this I will make use of set timeout method. So this will take a callback function. So after a certain time, what function it has to perform. So I will make use of the duration. So this will be the milliseconds, right? So inside this function, what we can do is, if it is a single line of statement, we can even omit the curly braces. So we have to remove the property from the cache object, right? So we can simply delete it. This dot from the cache, we can remove that particular. So this will remove that entire object associated with that particular key. So now we have to store this reference, because you can observe that both value and duration should be overwritten if they called a second time. So we have to remove the previous timeout and we have to update with the latest duration. So for this, so I will maintain a property called timeout reference, and inside it I will store this timeout reference, set timeout. So next thing is, this set function is supposed to return a boolean value. Okay, so we have conditions here. The method should return true if the unexpired key already exists. So that means for returning a value, so let me create a variable called value and assign it to false. So we have to verify if the key already exists, right? So key exists. So initially just declare the variable. So now Let us assign the value key exists or not by checking from the cache object. So this dot cache, and we have a key available right here. So we can simply call like this. So this will return if the key is already set in the cache. If we have a value, that means it will be a object. Otherwise, we will have an undefined value. So what I will do, I will just have a if else block. If key already exists, this case, otherwise this case. Let's assume that key did not existed before, and this is first time we are setting the key inside the cache object. So in this case, so we have to perform this action. So we have to set these values inside the cache. Okay, so let us return value here. So if the key already exists, then only we should return true, right? Inside this case, otherwise we should return false. So the default value will be false. So I'm not updating. So let us assume we have the key existed. So both value and duration should be overwritten if the key already existed. So in this case, so I'm updating the value and duration as well. We also need to remove the previous timeout that is present inside the cache object. Otherwise, it will call this set timeout again. So we have to remove this if we are overriding. So clear timeout, and this needs a reference. We can simply call this. Now you can ask like, okay, so we have a latest value and duration. So now with this latest duration, we have to call this set timeout, right? So after the execution, like we will anyway come to this line of execution, right? So this is fine. And after clearing the timeout, so we have to assign the value true, because if the key already existed, that means they are asking to return true. Okay, I think this is fine for the set functionality. So let us go to the getter method. So if the key existed, it should return associated value, otherwise it should return -1. Let us create a variable key exists, and we can call like this only. So this function is having a key parameter, right? So we can make use of that. Here I will simply use return keyword, and if key existed, I will make use of ternary operator. If key existed, then from the key I will return the value, otherwise we have to return -1. Okay, let's come to the next function. So we have to return the count of unexpired keys. If you have an array, the way you can count number of elements is by using the length property. But here we have the cache object available, right? So that means from using this object.keys method, we can pass the cache object. So this will return array of keys, and by using this, we can simply call the length property from this. Okay, so this will return the number of keys existed, number of properties inside object existed. Yeah, I hope this will work. So let us run the problem. Let us take this example and go through the functionality. So let's say at a t0, the cache is constructed. So in the beginning, so when they create an object, so the cache is initialized with empty object. Next, they are calling setter method with this parameters. So key value pair, key is 1 and value is 42 is added with the time of 100 milliseconds. Okay, so this is the first time, right? The key did not existed. So the value does not existed. So false is returned. Initially, we will verify if key 1 is existed or not. So we will get undefined. So it will go to the else block. We will set the value 42 and a duration of 100 milliseconds to this key 1. And then we will also set a timeout, because after this duration it has to remove, and then simply we have to return the value false. So the default value will be false. Key 1 is requested and value 42. So this is a get call they are doing. Since the key is already existed, so we will return the value. So now they are calling the count function. Since there is an active key or one key existed, so it will return the number 1. So this is how like this functionality works. So you can also take this second example. I will submit the problem. Okay, all right, solution is accepted. Okay, so I hope you learned something and it is helpful for you to understand. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Thank you for watching until the end. I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.